boy. Nice and shiny like my hiney clean. Let's build a foliar program to save the corn crop. Ran a couple 100 gallons of clean water through the boom and the plumbing. Get her all cleaned out nice and good. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining me today. So, yep, sprayer's rinsed out, flushed out, ready to go. Build our foliar program. This year isn't going to be foliar for like a top end yield. This year, let's do a foliar because the ground is so saturated. It's lacking oxygen. We're going to be lacking nutrients. Not quite a full kitchen sink approach, you know, a little more thought out program than just a kitchen sink approach. But we've got a good potential to the crop. So let's give it some assist and see if we can't make it a great crop this year. And so with Darrell's first 50 acres that we're going to do, we've got some potash. We can see under the canopy there's some yellowing. I am suspicious that it's more of a potash or potassium than it is for nitrogen. Either way, it's from too much water and not enough air. So both nitrogen and potassium are going to be difficult for our corn plant to go get. We're limited on root growth and development when it's this wet and lacking oxygen. So let's give it a little potash. We already added a little extra potash with the top dress nitrogen, but now let's add some super high quality potash that plant can just soak up and take. We got a sugar extract and a humic acid product, and then we got a humate with a fulvic acid, a seaweed extract, and a brown sugar. And then one of these is carbon. This one is your micronutrients. So we got our calcium, manganese, boron, copper, all the things we need, our zinc, and some more humic with carbon in it. And then the pH max, we add that based on the amount of water we're running to get that pH of that water where we want it to be to make the nutrients the most available they can to the plant. Pretty simple. Everything has a purpose and makes sense. We'll find out this year, you know. Like I said, it's more of a Hail Mary. Let's just invest in the crop wisely to do the best we can. Instead of giving up and be like, oh, it's a wet year. Like, no, let's fight for this crop. We got a good looking stand. It needs an assist. Let's give it that assist. So let's get this going, and then the next one we will have some source, and then we have some BWfull full sun product to try. And so we're going to be covering all acres of corn with something. And so there we go. All right, let's dump all this in. You see the corn's almost canopied, so all we have to do is create a good fog rolling back here. So each droplet, the more droplets, the more surface area, the more absorption points on the leaf, and you can see how they're speckled up really nice. And that looks really good. It's very cool out. It is like 70 degrees. So you kind of see that line right there, and it goes across most of the field. That's the hill seep. I guess it wasn't too bad being zoomed in. The water's coming out the side of the hill right there. And so what I did is I got my right boom. So I turn my master switch on. My right boom is off. So you're going to see this gap. And I can do that across the field. And so then what we can do is, for a quick visual, is in a week or two come back and see. We can look at the map. But without looking at the map, I guess the goal would be, could we see an improved and then a strip of not improved, and then an improved, you know, a big improved, small, poor, big improved. And that would be our first indicator that we've created something of a response. But then at the harvest time, we can check that area for yield. But then here in a couple weeks we can come back, or in a week, whenever. It's a rain all week, but whenever we can get back out here, we can then pull plant samples out of here and out of here and compare them and see what's the difference, what actually made it into the plant and did it everything. I'd like to give it a couple weeks to let the corn respond, but we got a good potential crop here, and this is why I want to fight for it. Well, here's the big field. We were just right there in that little field. Again, off to a fantastic, well, I guess I'm getting more optimistic the more I'm out here. This was late getting sprayed, but I did get it sprayed. The weeds are dying down. The corn does actually look really good. I guess maybe this is turning more into let's shoot for some actual yield instead of less of a rescue mission. I don't know. There's some ugly spots, like, you know, you got a hole over here, a yellow corn that actually lived, and it's a streak, and that whole upper corner, there's a lot of water and flat up in that upper corner, and then down over here there's a couple acres of just corn gone. It's just gone. But yeah, I slowed way down for the auto steer so I could video. On this one, I'm not shutting boom sections off, because when opening up the field, there's spots and there's gaps, and I'll shut the boom off here long before this ditch, and long after it, so I'm not spending any dollars fertilizing a ditch. But no, this is kind of making me happy. For the year we got, this is some great looking corn, good looking color. Them weeds will be dead soon enough, and then I'm gonna try and still cultivate if I can. The rain is coming, and the corn is growing fast, so I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but yeah, so, well, you ain't gonna get much production out of this little area. It's only maybe a couple acres, but you know, it's 2 acres that we put seed down, we put fertilizer down, and herbicide down, and it's not gonna pay us back. So hey, that means the rest of the field just has to work that much harder to get us going. Right, guys, hey, thanks for joining me on batch number 2. What batch number 2 is going to be is the source product. Dan came and talked to us about it. Farmer to farmer, I don't understand the science and how it all works, but it's just supposed to help the plant either get nutrients, or through how plants go and make nutrients available in the soil, it's supposed to stimulate that program. Don't know, we're gonna find out. And simple as you and I are talking, that one is very scientific. Everything has a purpose, a reason, a function. There's just a lot there to do. This one, 1 ounce per acre, dump it in, you're good to go. Pretty simple. And so we got a field over in West Rock. We're going to hit that with some of the source product, and then we'll leave test strips again, and then while we're over there is we've got the BWfull Sun, and have an area where we use their in-furrow program. So I'm going to put this Full Sun on top of their in-furrow program to utilize their system to the best I can. And again, very easy product to use. You know, shake up the jug. There was some crystals in the bottom of the jug. I put some water in there, shook it vigorously for about 30 seconds. That took care of about 95% of the crystals. There's still a couple little crystals in there, and so I don't know if that's normal or not, but simple product. Just dump in the, you know, shake it up, dump in the rate you think you need, and go. A lot of this, yeah, I don't know how much more to say other than let's just go get it put on, and then in several weeks we'll pull some plant tissue samples from all the different areas and have that tested and see, did anybody do anything better than the check? That's all we care about, is did we do better than nothing? As of right now, that bar is not very high, or my expectations are not very high. Yeah. So here's this field. This field was more, them other two fields actually surprised me once I got out there, like how good they really looked. Like, holy dang, these things are coming alive. This is the field that we want to throw some stimulants at, not to make top yield, but can we help move this crop along? You can see the pond scum on the ground, that the water literally just went away, and we're kind of standing in a bowl. You can see how the corn is kind of suppressed here. A lot of corn is missing here. Weeds are dying down and starting to clean up. The corn's getting better looking by the day. You can see as we climb out of here, the corn starts to fill in the row a little bit better. So there's some really good looking corn out here. I'm very optimistic that we've got moisture. The biggest nutrient we're missing is oxygen. I think this year, if I can get that cultivator through this ground, that cultivator will be the best investment I can make to get oxygen into this soil. But if let's look at the negatives: oversaturated ground, water ponding, and just soup of a soil. So it's creating nutrient deficiencies for us. The positive is we got a good looking stand, good looking rows. Even though the corn is suppressed, it has good color, good potential. Let's focus on that. Let's work with that. Let's give it a shot in the arm with these stimulants and see if we can't pep it up and bring it along a little bit, you know. And so let's focus on the positives and do the best we can and get this field running a little more. And so let's get unfolded and spraying and feeding this crop. And in a few weeks we'll be back to see what it looks like. Oh, this poor area. You know it's wet when you got that stupid, what do you call that, that frog scum or whatever, you know, when that water just sits there for weeks and weeks. That poor little corn. Oh, geez, I'd give every one of you a hug if I could. But yeah, I don't know what I'm more excited to see. These nutrients, stimulants kick in and give that shot, or if I'm more excited to see the cultivator come through here and open this soil up and get some oxygen down to these little plants. Oh boy, oh boy. I have to make sure I hit my property line here because I got a neighbor, and my headland here because I got two neighbors. So you got to make sure, you know, you might hit them with 2 or 3 overlap passes, you know, like with the fertilizer spreader. You got your normal rate, but whenever you got a neighbor, you always turn around double back. And so from what you see farming, you got this amazing field edge, and then 60 or 90 feet in, it's like normal ugly field. And cheating the system. Always keep them on their toes. You know, you got your typical spots like this where it's just that little drown out, and it is what it is, you know. But hey, if on a wet year, I'd rather lose 10% of the crop to a wet year and have the other 90 or 85% be great than lose almost all of it on a dry year. For the most part, the corn looks pretty nice and clean. The spray did its job. There's a few little escape spots, but I find it amazing that 1 ounce per acre. 1 ounce per acre. Just think about that for a half a second. Go to any city person and give them 1 ounce of fluid. Well, if a city lot is 1/4 of an acre, so you give 1/4 of an ounce, a couple eyedroppers of fluid, and tell somebody, spread this on your lawn. you know, and do a quality job. 1 ounce per, and then how can 1 ounce per acre even do anything? You know, that just blows my mind.